Shri Vishnu Sahasranama, name 861, is Dhanurdhara. Dhara, we have heard this word previously in Vishnu Sahasranama, for instance, in the similar sounding name, Dhara. Dhara means the earth, Dhara means he who holds. So here, Dhanush means a bow, the kind of bow that's used by a warrior. So one who holds a bow. Dhanush in Sanskrit, Sandhi, when it is joined with the word Dhara, becomes Dhanur, so Dhanurdhara. The word Dhanush is still well known in Indian languages, and it's a fairly common name down here in Tamil Nadu this way. There's one famous film actor in Tamil cinema called Dhanush, for all it's worth. Dhanusho dhara dhanurdhara. One who holds the bow or has a bow is called Dhanurdhara. Both Shankaracharya and later Parashara Bhatta interpret this name in the most straightforward way, one who carries a bow in his hand. The word dhanush means bow. It can be extracted from the root dhan, to sound, to make a sound. Boing, when the bow is pulled and the string is twangs. And also dhanye, to bear fruit, because the bow, by its firing, it's supposed to have a desired action. Parashara Bhatta says that this means Sharanga. The bow is Sharanga, that is the name of Lord Vishnu's bow. His well-known name is one well-known name of Lord Vishnu, Sharangapani, who has the Sharanga. His bow has a name. We'll find that the great warriors, their chief and famous bow has a name, just like Arjuna's bow is probably the most famous in the Puranic and Aitihasic literature by the name Gandiva, that is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So Sharangapani is Vishnu, particularly in Rama Avatara, Rama and Lakshman. We always see them with their bows in hand. One reason that Ram wanted to go to the forest, despite the dislike of the proposal by pretty much everyone else, with the exception of Kaikeyi and Manthara. Everyone in Ayodhya wanted him to stay. But one reason he wanted to go, or having gone there, he felt he had a great duty to protect the rishis in the forest who were being harassed by Rakshasas. This is Kshatriya Dharma, to give protection. Etad artam hi lokesmin kshatriyair dharyate dhanahu. Dharyate kshatriyai chapo na artha shabdo bhaved iti. Kshatriya, what it means, etad artam hi loke, within this world, the meaning of a kshatriya is one who has a bow in his hand. And why does he hold a bow in his? Why does he hold a bow? So that the cry of distress, no one will cry out in distress. And Ram is particularly famous for that. We can visualize Ram in Ayodhya, in the forest, with his bow, immediately brings assurance to the righteous, to the rishis, and immediately invokes fear in the hearts of the unrighteous, or if not fear, indignation. We'll find Kara, Dushana, Trishira, the three heads of the first horde of Rakshasas who Ram killed, having gone to the forest. They just felt some indignation, because they felt, who is this? Some man has come to challenge us. He has a bow. So the bow in the hand of the Kshatriya, it's symbolic of his power and might and his challenge to the rascals, and his assurance to the righteous. But it's not symbolic in the sense that the crown on a king is symbolic. It's not just symbolic, but it's actually used. Ram famously got the bow Shanga from Parashurama, he's another Rama. He's the name of Rama. He's also an avatar of Vishnu, empowered by Vishnu. Madhvacharya establishes in his Tatparya Nirnay, Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnay, that this bow can only be wielded by Vishnu. The story is well known how Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna, along with their father Dasharatha, and the whole huge party from Ayodhya is returning from Janakpuri, Mithila, with their newly wedded wives. It's a very happy scene as they head back to Ayodhya, when suddenly there's a huge storm, a tremendous wind, and bad portents arise. But Vasishta, who's there, says, he says, don't worry, there are bad portents, but there are good ones also. And then in the midst of this whirlwind dust storm, the terrible Parashuram arrived. He's terrible to behold. His famous weapon is an axe, therefore he's called Parashuram. One word for axe, Sanskrit word is Parashu. But he had his axe on his right shoulder and a bow on his left shoulder, and a powerful arrow in his hand. And the rishis present were surprised, because Parashuram, he was known to previously have been so terrible, but he had vowed, after annihilating the Kshatriya community 21 times, he had vowed to give up his anger and just do austerities. Then Parashuram addressed the other, Dasharati Ram. So I heard you broke the bow of Shiva. That's another way why Ram is Dhanurdhara. He broke the famous bow of Shiva. Parashuram said, oh, I heard. But I have an even greater bow, the bow of Vishnu. If you're actually a hero, take this bow and string it. If you're able to draw the arrow back fully, then I shall consider you a fit person to fight with. In other words, he's challenging Ram to a fight. See, first of all, we want to see if you're competent, then I'll fight you. With the perhaps insinuation that otherwise you're not fit to fight with, and you're just another of those useless Kshatriyas. It's time for me to start killing Kshatriyas again. So Dasharath, he pleaded and whined, and no, leave my boy alone. Parashuram completely ignored him and just said, he said how he narrated to Ram that how Shiva got this bow, and how he got the bow that you just broke, and how Vishnu got the bow. They were both constructed by Vishvakarma. And anyway, it's quite a story. That's another, getting a little off topic here. Vishnu, at one point, gave away his bow to the Rishi Richika, who gave it to the father of Parashuram named Jamadagni. Now you may say, well, they're also Dhanurdhara, they're not Vishnu. But they don't, they take charge of the bow, but they're rishis. They don't hold it in battle mode. They keep it, that's all. Anyway, Parashuram took it. And he eventually killed the Kshatriya race 21 times. And then he retired. However, when he heard that Ram had broken the bow of Shiva, he narrates to Rama that I felt compelled to come and challenge you. So, take the bow. See if you are worthy of fighting with me. Ram, cool, unperturbed. He didn't wait for Parashuram to give him, he just snatched the bow and arrow from Parashuram and just took it immediately. And when he took the bow, he took Parashuram's stock of ascetic prowess, the acquired punya that he had got. But effortlessly, Ram, you remember the Shiva's bow, no one could string it, they couldn't even pick it up, let alone string it, and Ram just walks in, picks it up, strings it, and breaks it by stringing it. He pulled it so hard. And Ram similarly pulled the bow of Vishnu, drew it back full length. There's Parashuram standing in front of him. Said, yeah, so I can kill you, but you're a Brahmana and you're related to my guru, Vishvamitra, so I won't kill you. But now I've drawn the bow, the arrow should not go in vain. And your challenge to see my prowess, that should be answered. So I will use this arrow to destroy your prospect of going to the heavenly worlds, which you have attained by performing long austerities. Parashuram, all he could do was look on as Ram kept the arrow pulled back to his ear, and Ram let go the bow, and Parashuram admitted defeat. So Rama, he was already a competent bowman. Even before this, he had killed Tartaka with his bow, the demoness, and he had, with another bow, had sent Maricha flying away to the other side of the continent. And there's so many. When we think of Ram, we think of Kodandaram. Ram, Kodanda, Ram means also Ram with a bow. So really when we think of Dhanurdhara, Vishnu, yes, but specifically we have to think about Ram. Namalva, in one of his pasurams, describes that the weapons of Lord Vishnu, they're personalities who take those forms to serve the Lord, and by nature they're quite angry because their duty is to act as an instrument for Bhagavan Vishnu in his destruction of the enemies of the devotees. So this is the mood of these weapons. And Namalva, in another passage, states that Ram's bow is bent. It's naturally like that. Bows are made like that. But it's bent as if with respect for Lord Ram. Shankaracharya gives the same interpretation. He emphasizes Mahad Dhanurdhara, that he's holding a great bow. It's not just any old bow. Probably the kids don't play with toy bows and arrows now, but as a kid, it was when I was growing up in England 60 years ago, it was a common thing that young boys would grow up with, among their toys were bows and arrows. The arrows would have a rubber at the end, like a, what do you use that for? Like a toilet cleaner or something. So you could shoot someone and the arrow would just stick on them, but it wouldn't harm them or go in anyone. So there are many who carries a bow. I carried a bow as a child and a sword. My father made out of wood sword, painted it and gave it to me. I was carrying a sword. So many people carry bows, but none is equal to Rama. Even a blade of grass he converted into an arrow in chasing the demoniac crow all over the universe, until eventually he came back and surrendered at the feet of Rama and Sita. Satyadeva Vashishta quotes from the Rig Veda, Aham Rudraya Dhanar Atanomi Brahmadvishe Hantavau Aham Janaya Samadam Karnom Yaham Dvayava Prithvi Avivesha. So there we have the word Dhanur Atanomi. So a translation of this passage from the Rig Samhita. I bend the bow for Rudra that his arrow may strike and slay the haters of devotion. I rouse and order battle for the people, and I have penetrated earth and heaven. Another important understanding of this name is drawn from the Mundakopanishad, which gives the well-known metaphor of the bow with which the arrow of the Atma is to be shot to strike and hit the target. From Mundakopanishad, Dhanur grihit-vau parnishadam mahastram sharam hiupasanishitam samdhaita ayamya tadbhavagatena chetar sa lakshyam tadevaksharam somya vidhi. So this is addressed to Somya. Oh, gentle boy, you should know this, that taking the bow is what? Pranava, the Omkar. Taking the bow, which is well known in the Upanishads, the great weapon which is stated in the Upanishads, the Pranav, Omkar. Fix on it an arrow, which is the Atma. And the Atma is to be sharpened by constant meditation. Then drawing back the Atma with the mind fixed on Brahman. Aim it at the target, which is Brahman. And to clarify this metaphor, the next mantra explicitly declares Pranavo Dhanu Sharohi Atma Brahma Tanul Laksham Uchate. The Omkar is the bow, the arrow is the Atma, and the goal is Brahma, the Absolute Truth. Baladev Vidyabhushan is discussing now a series of names in terms of Krishna's avatars in winning his wives, or several of his wives. He states in this case that his wife called Lakshmana, this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, one of his wives, Lakshmana, she had her Swayamvar ceremony, in which to win her hand, the warrior had to pierce a fish, the eye of a fish, which is within the spokes of a wheel in the air, or kept up. And you're not even allowed to look at it directly. You can only look at the fish in a reflection in the water. So it's a very difficult task. And practically, even to string the bow is very difficult, let alone hit the target. Duryodhana came close. Arjuna came closer. Krishna just looked in the water once, did it. So he is therefore known as Dhanurdhara with the interpretation given by Baladev Vidyabhushan. Toward the end of Vishnu Sahasranama, we have discussion of his various weapons, especially the chakra, their various names. And the very last name is Sarva Praharanayudha, one who has all different kinds of weapons. So the bow is particularly associated with Lord Rama, the son of Dasharath and Kaushalya. It's also associated with Lakshman and Bharat and Shatrugna, especially with Rama. With Parashuram also, as we've seen, Krishna also uses the bow, but his most famous weapon is the chakra. Generally, Vishnu, his most famous weapon is the chakra. He also has the bow. So in various avatars, he wields this bow, and we bow down at his lotus feet. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha dante nitaya churnakang padaya nepatya kritva chakakushatameta ravimi hey sadhava sakala eva vihaya durad gauranga chandra charane kurutanuraga paribadatu jano yata tata va nanumukaro navayang vicharayamaha Hari rasa madira madati mata bhuvi vilutama nartama nirvishama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama